So last week I had this coaching conversation, and I want to share this story with you because it was very personally revealing to me, as well as what we uncovered during the coaching conversation was also very applicable for my own life, for my own, as I'm scaling my own business. The same thing that we uncovered, I found out after the coaching call that was very true for myself as well, that I was also falling into the same trap. And I think that's the power of coaching, because we are uncovering something. There's no advice, there is no cookie cutter strategies. We are uncovering what is behind missing results, or what could be which could lead to new results. And that might be as beneficial for me as for the coachee as well. And when we started the coaching call last week, this COO came in very disturbed about a project which was behind schedule, and he only wanted to figure it out, how to get it back on track. And he was visibly and very clearly disturbed and distressed, right? And I could sense that state of being. And I asked this person to come up with a plan, right? What is your plan? I asked this person, what is your plan to come up to fix this, or to cover the gap that they are witnessing right now? And they came up with a plan. In that state, they came up with a plan. And it was not a bad plan. It was, I would say, you can call it a very reasonable plan given the circumstances. Let me tell you what happened after that, right? I asked this person to reflect on his state of being, right? How is he being right now, that he's answering the question of coming up with a plan? And he answered this question that he's being disturbed, he's being stressed, he's being even scared, right? Because there will be consequences if this project doesn't go according to track. So there were clear consequences, and this person was a bit afraid, was a bit nervous, anxious, and clearly disturbed. Even in their language, they said that I am disturbed. And we reflected on the plan, right? As I said, it was not a bad plan, but in a state of fear, in a state when we are stressed, I don't think our brains can work fully as well as they can be. So when we looked and reflected upon the plan that he came up with, it was a very conservative plan. It was like trying to make amends. It was playing not to lose rather than playing to win. And we both reflected over this. And then I asked this person to take a deep breath, to get centered in their body, to let go of the anxiety or the fear which they were feeling, let go of the I am disturbed part, and simply acknowledge the situation for what it is, right? Without making it any bad than it is. And within a few minutes of sitting in silence and focusing on our breathing, taking long, 5 seconds inhales and 5-second exhales, within a few seconds, the person was feeling much more relaxed, much more calm. And then I asked him about the big and ambitious goal for the project, right? This is the largest project that this company is delivering for any client. And they have made a huge promise. They have made a big promise. And I asked this person to reconnect and tell me once again that promise is. And as soon as he started talking about it, his eyes lit up. You could see the care, you could see the passion for what they are doing as a company in this person's eyes and tone of voice, which was earlier not there because the person was too stressed and overwhelmed by what was happening. And then I asked the person again, in this state now, in this state of being centered, being relaxed in your body, not being short for breath or anything which happens when we are too stressed, when we are disturbed, we try to play safe. But now from a calm and centered place, I asked him to come up with a different plan. I asked him to reconnect with his goal, with his big goal, and I asked him to come up with a different plan. And he came up with a beautiful, bold plan, which was very different from the earlier plan which this person provided. And we laughed about it. It was very clear, right? We can talk all about planning and strategy and analysis, but many times the way we are being in our body, in our emotional state, has a huge impact, and that is invisible to us. But what we did through that time spent is we make that visible, and then we actually shifted that by taking a deep breath, by spending a few minutes in silence, by connecting with why this project matters, why are they doing it, why have they set this big and huge goal for themselves. And this person was immediately able to come up with a new plan, which was bold, which was ambitious, and which was actually playing to win rather than trying not to lose. And we reflected upon what happened, right? We reflected when we are in a state of fear. It's like we're driving a car, but we are always looking at the rear view mirror. We are always looking behind us to make sure that there are no problems. And especially for leaders, right? When you're trying to do something totally new, something which you have never done before, it can be very tempting to look at the past to see how to avoid mistakes or to prepare well. But most often, the past can only give you ways of reasoning that can create plans which are at best playing not to lose rather than playing to win. Because if you have to achieve what you have never achieved, you have to be willing to do what you have never done before, or to be what you have never been before. And you will not find those examples in the rear view mirror. You will not find those examples in your history. those examples and those results, those actions are still in your future, right? So um, being driven or being in a state of fear or disturbance or stress is like going after a big goal but looking at the rearview mirror, and that will never work. That's only going to make what you fear much more likely to happen. Another wonderful thing and that happened out of this conversation was, earlier the person came into the conversation saying this is not happening, that is not happening, we are falling behind, and all of this negative statements. And when the person was able to center themselves, take a few deep breaths, and revisit the plan from that new state of being, what they noticed, and again this is very, very fascinating for me, is that the person said that, oh, the outcome is already happening, that I don't have to make it happen. And what we came up with was, right, many times by trying to make things happen, we actually make them less likely to happen. By trying to force things to happen, we make them less likely to happen. By being in a state of stress or in a state of being disturbed when something is not going according to plan, we actually make it more difficult for that same result to happen. Instead, if we can center ourselves, not only can we take better decisions, we can take better steps and actions towards the outcome or the success that we are seeking. Many times we also will realize that it is already happening. And this is what this CEO told me, right? As soon as he started coming up with a new plan, he said, oh, this is already happening. My team is working on this. One person is working on this. I have 2 clients whom I'm still waiting to hear back, like 2 prospective clients who can turn into huge businesses. So his mood moved from this is not happening or this is not working. Oh, this is already happening. And maybe just it's a matter of time. Maybe the outcome is still not realized, but it is already happening. It's not something which I have to make it happen. It's already happening. And by actually trying to make it happen, by forcing it to happen, I'm actually making it less likely to happen. And I think that was fascinating. And after the call, I think this, especially this part, was so true for me in my own growth as I set up the Deploy Yourself School of Leadership, that it's so easy to freak yourself out, to worry about things not working. When if you really see things are in motion, things are working, even if you do not see progress right now, doesn't mean that nothing is happening right now. Yeah. So stop trying to make it happen all the time, because who knows, it might already be happening. Can you simply let it happen? Can you simply not intervene and not make it too hard for it to happen, which is happening by itself, and then continue to take those bold, clear-headed and powerful steps and decisions to achieve whatever big goal or big outcome that you have set for yourself. This is leadership. And this was such a humbling moment for me to have this coaching conversation and then to realize this is so true to me, that I have been taking on so much unnecessary stress and tension and trying to make things happen and actually making them difficult to happen by trying more and more when maybe I could just let it be and simply allow things to happen.